what a day in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. 70 degrees, sunny. It's the first weekend of fall, and this is a perfect football day. Almost brings out the sophomore and old bones like mine.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm ready to go out and play, Dick. This is the prettiest football day we've had all fall.
Well, the fans are here to focus on Franco. Undoubtedly, sometime in the first half, he'll get his 34, but they might be guilty of forgetting there's another team here that runs the football well.
No question about that, Dick. The Pittsburgh Steelers are number one in the NFL rushing the football. Right on their heels, the Patriots. And the Patriots have the best rushing day to show for their efforts in the NFL. Behind Tony Collins with a 212-yard performance last week against the Jets. You know, they're averaging 6.2 yards per carry every time they rush the football.
Well, it's become chic in 1983 to run the football, control the clock. Which team is going to be able to do that better today? What's the key?
The key, I think, Dick, is which team can defend against the rush best. And Pittsburgh has the best rushing defense. The Pats have been hurt in their defensive line. I'm afraid that that's where the problems are going to lie today for the Patriots.
Well, across the way, the head coach of the New England Patriots, Ron Meyer, in his second season, he calls this the most important game in his young pro coaching career. He says, I either go home with respectability in 2-2, or I'm 1-3, and that speaks for itself.
Chuck Noll on the other side has gone back to a familiar formula, running behind Franco Harris and defense. That's the way he started his successful career here in Pittsburgh.
And this game will start with the Steelers getting the ball first as the New England Patriots kick it off. The left footer from England, John Smith, to kick it deep. Odom and Harris, a couple of rookies, are back for Pittsburgh. A slight breeze, ever so slight, but enough to knock the ball off the tee. The Steelers, a touchdown favorite to go 3-1. The Patriots looking for a win that would even their mark at 2-all. And we're underway at Three River Stadium. Tim Harris, rookie, Washington State, at the 10. And out to the 27-yard line goes Harris, who is the all-time Cougar rusher before leaving Pullman, Washington. The offense on the field for the Steelers. Cliff Stout, the quarterback, with Terry Bradshaw, elbow surgery. Bradshaw might not play all year, is the word we've received here. Abercrombie with speed, and the incomparable Franco Harris, number 32. Wide receiver Greg Garrity for John Stallworth, his first pro start. The rookie from Penn State, Calvin Sweeney at the other wide out, with Benny Cunningham, the tight end. First down from the 29. Abercrombie, with the Patriots looking for Harris's number. It's Abercrombie with a good gain of about 7-8 yards. The offensive line in front of Cliff Stout, Ted Peterson, Craig Wolfley, All-Pro Mike Webster, Steve Corson, and another Pro Bowler, Larry Brown.
Dick, I think perhaps the most critical matchup of the day, Luther Henson, number 70, nose tackle for the New England Patriots against the All-Pro Mike Webster.
Second down, 2. Sweeney in motion. Harris's first try. And he gets little, maybe a yard. Harris. Good coverage by Julius Adams, number 85, who shut off the corner, the defensive right end for the Patriots. And here is that New England defense. Marshall Harris, former Cleveland Brown, Luther Henson on the nose, Julius Adams, the front three, the four linebackers, Andre Tippett, gifted athlete from Iowa, Steve Nelson, the veteran, Weissoon, who had a great rookie year last season, and Don Blackman, back from injury. The corners, Ronnie Lippett for Haynes, who's holding out, Ray Claiborne, Roland James, and Rick Sanford. It's third down and 1, as Harris got only a yard on his first try. Second tight end Rogers in motion. Franco has the first down at the 40 as he picks up 2 yards and is now 31 shy of moving past O.J. Simpson into the number 2 spot all time. We're going to be talking, of course, a lot about Harris, and deservedly so. But one of the things that impresses you most about Harris is his talents off the field as well, and how much he has shared and given to this community of Pittsburgh, and that's how he refers to his city. He said, I'm glad I'm not in New York and Los Angeles where that community feeling would be lost. I really feel a part of Pittsburgh. First down, Steeler 40. Harris, misdirection, has running room. And out at the 45, a typical Harris run. Merlin Olsen did not try to bowl for 2 extra yards, saw the sidelines, stayed healthy.
I think one of the things that has allowed him to continue in such an effective manner over those 12 years is that he knows which yards are critical yards, and he is willing to go out of bounds. Now, if he had been running for the first down and he'd have seen the markers for the first down, he'd have given you everything he had and thrown his body in there. But Harris has been wise in his use of his physical attributes, and I think that's one of the reasons he's been so successful.
Second down and 5, both wide receivers. Sweeney and Garrity to the right. Garrity, the rookie, in the slot. Harris gets about 3.5 before Don Blackman, third-year backer from Tulsa for the Patriots, makes the hit.
One of the difficulties that the defense has had for the Patriots, they have been driven off the ball in the defensive line. That's cut off the pursuit. You see number 72, that's Williams right there, being blocked by number 55, Webster. Now let's go back and see what happens when you get that kind of flow. Without the great play right there of Blackman, number 55, and great pursuit from the inside by 57, Nelson, that play probably would have picked up a first down.
Third down, 2. Harris, he's into New England territory, and a first down at the 49. And it's typical Harris running, nothing spectacular, just churning away, picking up the necessary yards. As you pointed out, he saw that first down stick.
On that particular play, he's giving you all he's got. He's going to go for that extra yard and certainly able to pick it up. Has a wonderful nose for how much yardage is needed for the first down. Something else you see early here, they're going outside, but they're also attacking the middle of that Patriot defense. That's something that the Jets did not do last week, and I think it hurt them.
Harris has already carried 5 times, 17 yards. This is Abercrombie, dangerously close to losing the football. He embraced it to his chest as it started to get away, and Abercrombie from Baylor is to the 45.
Walter Abercrombie, certainly, you look at the field, you look at the talents of the young men on the field, he is one you pick out. He is really a gem. But he's been a little disappointed. He has not been able to carry the ball as many times as he wanted to, and certainly has had to kind of take a back seat. Last week had a big game. A run of 50 yards, caught a touchdown pass at 30 yards. That might be enough to just get this young man's spirits up and get him cranking.
That touchdown pass, by the way, is the only Steelers score through the air in 3 games. This is Abercrombie. Brings some of the crowd to its feet with an 8-yard run to a first down before Ronnie Lippett, rookie from Miami of Florida, and Rick Sanford in the secondary for New England can make the hit.
A little bit of danger for this New England defense, that so much attention focused on Franco Harris. You can't afford to forget the other back in the backfield. Franco doing the blocking here as he goes inside. Watch Abercrombie, just a little spin on the inside to get an extra 3 yards. That's the kind of play that distinguishes great running backs, and Abercrombie has yet to prove himself in that category, but he shows the skills there.
Still on the ground. This is Stout's first pass of the game. Abercrombie with a diving attempt. Steve Nelson, number 57, the defender. First score of the day. Cincinnati and Tampa Bay. The winner there will have its first win of this young season. The Bengals 7-0 against the Buccaneers on an interception return by the Rattler, Ken Riley, 34 yards for a score.
Both those teams hoping that they can shine today. Neither wants to go to an 0-4 beginning for the year.
Franco Harris, as they line up 2nd and 10, needs 19 yards to pass O.J. into the number 2 spot. Stout. 30, 20. He's out of bounds at the 15. 22-yard scramble by Cliff Stout.
Cliff Stout not afraid to run that football. In fact, he's averaged 7.6 yards every time he's run the football this season. Reminds you of a young Terry Bradshaw, a young Steve Grogan. Look at him catch his balance there. Doesn't look to be running that fast, but runs a good 4.840, and I think maybe even faster with some bodies chasing him.
He eats up a lot of yardage with those long strides. You prorate that 104 yards, he's got a 500-yard season going for him as a runner. Harris got a blocker. All the way to the 2-yard line.
Dick, I think you sensed it in talking to Franco. This is the first time that I've ever really felt him excited before a game. He's always so low-key on Saturday at practice and Sunday before a game. He is genuinely excited about getting this record today, and I think it's a pleasure to see the way he's gone after it here in the early going.
Well, and there's so many excited for him. Joe Green, his teammate, flew in from Dallas. O.J. wanted to be here. Lynn Swann was hoping to get here. It's first and goal, Steelers. Franco 2 yards shy of number 2. Oops.
Did they take too much time? I'm afraid they may have done.
Looks as if that is the preliminary signal. Harris 11 yards short of the number 2 spot, as the signal now says 6 yards. 6 yards. We'll wait for Joe Costanzas to give us that 6 is the official count.
They're going to mark off 5 yards. That's a costly penalty. Last week, the Steelers having some trouble getting their offense on track. In order to get themselves back on track, had to call a couple of timeouts, and it hurt them just before the half last week because they wound up with no timeouts in a critical situation.
Well, maybe the officials have a sense of the dramatic. They have the ball on the 6-yard line. A 6-yard score by Harris would really allow him to pass O.J. with a flourish. He's got the ball, but grabbing him was number 98, Dennis Owens. Nose tackle from North Carolina State after a gain of just a yard.
Both of these teams will use a lot of substitutes, specialists, offensively and defensively, trying to get good pass rushers into the game on passing downs and trying to get extra defensive backs into the game in the nickel situation. We'll try and update you later on the people you may see in those situations.
Number 30, Frank Pollard, has joined Harris in the Pittsburgh backfield. This is Pollard for a couple. Good defense inside. Julius Adams, the veteran defensive end from Texas Southern, first to make contact, and Roland James to finish him off.
Dick, one of the problems that the Steelers have had this year is getting the ball punched into the end zone. In fact, Stout said for a while he thought he was going to lead the league in passing and getting his team down to the 5. Well, they would certainly like to punch this one in and not have to go away with just 3 points or no points to show for this fine drive.
Third and goal at the 3. Stout, touchdown, Calvin Sweeney. Sweeney's first touchdown of this year, his second with the Steelers in the career as he replaces Lynn Swann.
Stout just rolling out the threat of the run there, but it was pass all the way. Sweeney getting ahead of Lippett there to make it possible for him to pull down that very quick pass from Stout, and Stout has got to be extremely pleased. That's his second passing touchdown of his career.
Gary Anderson nails the extra point. The Pittsburgh Steelers, staying primarily on the ground, used over 7 minutes on that opening drive to equal 7 points. Steelers 7, Patriots about to get the ball for the first time. All right, Len Berman, where the Pittsburgh Steelers have scored. Calvin Sweeney accepting a 3-yard third down pass from Cliff Stout. Gary Anderson ticks it off. Comes down to Ricky Smith, number 27 of the Patriots. He's got speed, runs into his own man, and still squirms out to the 34-yard line.
Ran into Tim Golden, number 59, one of his own linebackers. That's embarrassing. That young man is going to take some ribbing when the films are run on Monday.
Steve Grogan, the veteran quarterback from Kansas State. Tony Collins, 212 yards last week, rushing against the Jets veteran Mark Van Egan at fullback. Wide receivers, ever dangerous Stanley Morgan, and the rookie Stephen Starling. What a name. Lynn Dawson is the tight end. The blockers, Holloway, the all-pro Hanna, Brock, Wooten, and Kreider.
That's a big offensive line.
Averages 275, those 5 men. Brogan to Collins. He fights for a couple to the 36. Donnie Shell comes up from his safety spot to make the tackle. Here are Shell's teammates on defense. Goodman, Nelson, and Beasley, the front 3. The linebackers for Pittsburgh, Merriweather, The veteran Jack Lambert, Lauren Taves, and Robin Cole. At the corners for Pittsburgh, Woodruff, the MVP last year, and the veteran Blunt. And Shell and Ron Johnson share the safety spots.
Woodruff in the hospital a couple of days this week. May still be weak.
2nd and 8. Collins picking his way for 2 more at the 38-yard line. Robin Cole burrowing under to make the tackle, number 56. Robert Weathers, 24, into the game for the first time, along with his kid brother Clarence, number 82. That's a story in itself. Develop it as we progress this afternoon.
Weathers goes into the game as a threat, both running and passing the football, catching the football. Grogan has liked to go to him in this kind of situation.
Morgan is slotted right. Steelers had their pass rush youngsters in. Grogan down the middle for Morgan. And Donnie Shell nearly with an interception. Crowd loves this young pass unit, defensive unit for the Steelers, and they get a hand as they go off.
We mentioned the fact that Chuck Noll has gone back to a familiar formula here. Good defense in the running game, and that defense, which had showed some real gaps last year, has certainly matured and gotten stronger. Mostly, I think, backed on the strength of that good defensive line. The youngsters are really coming through, as you said, Dick.
A glossy 46-yard plus average for Camarillo. That's Scansey, a rookie at the other end. He's from the University of Washington, all the way to his 6th. And returns to the 17-yard line. Camarillo to his former teammate Scansey on that connection. The Steelers have the lead and have the football, and Franco Harris is just a handful of yards away from O.J. 51-year-old Chuck Noll in his 15th year here in Pittsburgh. And down deep, you know, he has to be as excited for this man, Franco Harris, as anyone in this crowd of 59,000. Harris is 4 yards away from the number 2 spot all time. That's Abercrombie, who delays the drama for a moment as he gains about 6.
One of the questions that we asked early about this defense for the Patriots is, were they going to be able to handle this offense of the Steelers? And they've done some good work inside. They've shown us a little physical football, but so far the Steelers haven't been able to drive. Let's see if this second drive is going to be similar to the first.
Harris, after that block attempt, maybe saying, give me the ball. I don't want... And with that last leaning lunge, that should be 5 yards or close to. He needed 4. And if that indeed passes O.J., they will stop the game and present the ball to Franco Harris.
I bet there's a statistician somewhere trying to measure that one mentally. I think it's very close. They have not stopped it, so apparently he's just shy of it, Dick.
Apparently that was just a 3-yard gain. Now the O.J. countdown from 4 to 1. Now they say 3 yards, but according to it, now it's down to 1.
It's 3-2.
Abercrombie has the first down. Now, just a yard away, Cliff Stott. I asked him yesterday, I said, now as a quarterback, will you have enough sense of the moment to be able to say, even though the game is the thing, that here is a special moment in your career as well, you're going to hand it off to Franco? He said, you bet I will. And in that huddle, we're going to make it something special, and this is that time.
He added another thought that shows his youth and his enthusiasm. He said, I'll probably be even more excited when I hand off to him and he beats Brown's record. So he's thinking ahead as well as toward today.
Listen to this crowd. Intercepted. And it lateral to number 53, Wysoon, and that's a touchdown. Nelson had the presence of mind after tripping and falling to be able to flip the ball to his teammate Wysoon for the touchdown, and the Patriots make it 7-6.
Wysoon going in, but the big play by number 57, Steve Nelson. Nelly, the leader of this defense, and this is the kind of thing that they would love to be doing all day. The Steelers have been hurt over the years by turnovers. Indeed, lost their first game to Denver with 7 turnovers. Watch the flip right here. Now that is great teamwork. as he just flips the ball back to number 53, Wysoon, and no danger. When he's on the ground, unless he's touched by someone or touched as he goes toward the ground, he is not down until someone taps him.
So John Smith tries to tie it up for New England. And does. To the dismay of this partisan crowd at Three Rivers Stadium. They were looking for Franco Harris to get the ball on the run. But the pass by Stout produces 7 for New England. Dick Enberg, Merlin Olsen, I got to get you some flowers. They kind of dress up the uniform. One of these
stripped me naked, didn't you? An exciting start to this game, Dick. They don't need any flowers down on the field. They got plenty of excitement down there.
The New England may be catching the Steelers, and the fans looking too much toward Franco.
Well, the Steelers perhaps concentrating on that record, too. They better get their business on this game, get their minds on it.
There's Clayton Wysoon in his second year from Angelo State of Texas. Has the touchdown on the lateral, and now the kick by Smith. 7-all in Pittsburgh. Odom down shy of the 20-yard line.
Taking the kickoff.
Good tackle by Darrell Wilson, rookie wide receiver. Here comes Franco, a yard away.
I think Franco and Noel would like to get that record out of the way so they can concentrate on the game, and perhaps they will go for it right now. Interesting that last week the Steelers were able to mount very long drives. Their 3 touchdown drives averaging over 80 yards a play, or averaging over 80 yards. Franco right now 8 times, 33 yards. What is he, just a yard away, Dick?
Here it is. Got to figure he's going to get it here. Aside, O.J. Franco Harris, number 2 in the history of NFL rushers. Aren't always perfect, but some come mighty close. And Franco Harris, the player and the man, is very special to a lot of people, including his teammates. He gives of himself. He shares with his community. He cares about his team ahead of his individual efforts, and that makes it all the more special.
You get a feeling for the great affection that this crowd has for him, and you see in that huddle down there on the sideline a great love that his coaches and his teammates have for Franco. That's a beautiful moment, Dick.
I asked him yesterday, of all your runs, you've carried the ball more than anyone in history. Which one do you remember? I thought he would say that immaculate reception. He didn't pick out one. He said, I remember a game, 1974. We went to Oakland thinking we could beat the Raiders, and we did beat them, and suddenly realized with that playoff win that we were championship caliber. And so even his answer involved a team answer, not an individual run. That's the thinking of the man.
It's interesting, too, that the Patriots are here looking for that same kind of identity. They'd love to get it at the expense of the Pittsburgh Steelers today.
Now let's get back to the business. 7-all the score. Franco looking for more. Don Blackman made the tackle. Franco Harris now with the sights set on the immortal Jim Brown.
Settling down to business. Number 77, Steve Corson, leading out in front. And Corson had Don Blackman, number 55, in a quandary. Looked like he was going outside, but Franco cut back inside, able to make a couple of nice yards before they pulled him down.
Second down. Abercrombie, shy of the 40-yard line. Marshall Harris got a piece of him.
Stopped by
Number 50, Larry McGrew.
And McGrew.
Oh, it's interesting. The Steelers have had the ball 21 plays, New England 3, and the score is 7-all. Pass situation, Merlin.
We promised that we would show you the kind of changes that New England will be making on pass downs. Nelson and Weissoon will go out. McGrew, Marion, and tip it in. Of course, this a 3rd and 1, so we probably wouldn't expect that. It's still a good down to run or pass on.
And Franco is going to be close. I'm not sure he got there.
Harris.
Getting a mark on it down there. It's interesting. Franco does not run with the kind of authority that you might expect from a back his size, but he uses his power very selectively. He knows how to get those shoulders square, and if you saw him going in there, absolutely square, but does not run with the thundering power of some of the bullish kind of backs in the NFL.
We said Jim Brown had the most talent and O.J. was the toughest to catch, but you felt that Franco used his talents best of all. What did you mean by that?
I think he's been able to cut against the grain. He's been able to probe the weaknesses of defenses better than just about any big back I've ever watched.
First down, he picked up the yardage. There is a case in point. A man 225 pounds. There was no hole, so he did that little dance of his, skipped to the right, and picked up 4 yards when really there was none there. Other scores. First round, Kansas City takes the early lead at Miami in the first quarter. 7-0. The Cowboys, boy, they just seem unbeatable the way they're playing. New Orleans at home. And 14-0. Cincinnati leads early at Tampa Bay in the battle of two teams looking for that initial victory. Here at 7-all. Second down, 6. Stout. First down at the New England 45. Marshall Harris finally caught him.
One of the things that marks Cliff Stout's athletic ability, his ability to pull away from a tackler. But look at the length of his strides as he does not spot an open receiver, back in the middle of the pocket, feels the opening there, breaks away, gets away from a second tackler there. Look at the length of those drives. Marshall Harris, 78, finally pulling him down from behind, but he has the first down.
10 more yards for Cliff Stout. He's run the ball better than he has passed it in this first quarter. Oh, Abercrombie greeted rudely in his own backfield. Charging through was Dennis Owens, number 98.
Slanting on the line that time as they just blew right past the block of Wolfley on the inside.
Houston has taken the early lead at Buffalo 3-0 on a 31-yard field goal. And Minnesota leads 3-0 on a 27-yard field goal by Benny Ricardo.
Craig Wolfley, Dick, has got one hand all banged up from that game last week. A hand and an elbow. May have a little trouble blocking in there.
2nd and 11 for Stout. To Harris to the 39-yard line, where it'll be 3rd down and 4. And that's an area of the game that Franco has improved perhaps most dramatically since his rookie year, his ability to catch the football.
Well, that's an area in which this team has improved, and partially because of Stout.
Well, both teams staying on the ground. A very fast first quarter as that clock stopped rarely by an incomplete pass. And after the first 15 minutes on Franco Harris Sunday, it's 7-all, the Pats and the Steelers. Where the owner, the chief, 82 years young, Art Rooney, one of his favorite former players up from Dallas to see the game in person. Joe Green, the great all-pro defensive tackle. It's 7-all as we open the second quarter. Dick Enberg with Merlin Olsen. The Steelers have dominated the ball, but the game is even. On 3rd and 4, Stout, look at him move. And he has the first down at the 25-yard line.
Steve Nelson going to the ground as he got a piece of Stout, takes himself out of the ball game. 14 yards on that scramble by Stout. That's the thing you always worry about when a quarterback runs, his injury. But Stout, a big, strong quarterback. Chuck Noll has allowed him to run. In fact, said a lot of times a quarterback gets hurt more in the pocket than he does running. Nelson, now watch number 57 right there. Hit the head into Stout's leg. May have pinched the nerve a little bit. We'll see how soon he comes back into the game.
Harris. He plows to the 16-yard line.
Dick, you asked me about Franco's running style. I was talking to Dick Hoke earlier about that cutback ability of Franco, and I said, what allows him to do that? He said, I don't know whether it's vision or whether it's feel. It's one of those two things, but whatever it is, Franco has it. He knows where the opening is, and he gets there.
I guess that is the quality of all the great runners, that sense to know where the opponents are not. 8 more yards, 60 yards in this first half for Harris, and Abercrombie across the 15 is close to a first down. In that first quarter possession, the Steelers had it 13 minutes and 28 seconds. The ball was owned by New England a minute and 32 seconds. It was only the interception returned for a touchdown as Nelson made the interception, and there he is, attended to on the far sidelines, and is tossed to Wysoon on the lateral for the touchdown that keeps New England in the game. Steve Grogan has had the ball only 3 snaps from center.
Pittsburgh did that same thing last week to Houston. In the third quarter, Houston had 3 plays, and it really killed Houston. That and the 6 sacks on Archie Manning, along with 4 interceptions. So that's the kind of action they'd like to get here on Grogan, but Grogan hasn't had much of a chance to perform here at all.
Third down and less than a yard. Harris and Abercrombie behind Stout, who dives himself. Version of the quarterback draw. And Stout, the second leading rusher in the game to Franco Harris, gets 2 more. That's 7 out of 7 on third down for Pittsburgh. Kansas City, meanwhile, another field goal. Nick Lowry has kicked 45 and 46-yard field goals in Miami to take the 6-0 lead. We understand that Benny Cunningham, injured, is back in the Pittsburgh Steeler dressing room, and John Rogers has replaced him at tight end. Half the New England team finally dragging Pollard down.
Steve Nelson on the sideline, they tell us he has injured his wrist, but probably will get back into the ball game. Johnny Rembert in for Clayton Wysoon, and we don't know exactly why that is, but perhaps they're just trying to turn over the personnel in there and keep them fresh when you're playing that much defense, and that's something that Ron Meyer did not want to see. He wanted his offense on the field, not his defense, and so far it's been all defense for New England.
Pittsburgh's 14th play in this drive, 2nd and 11. Franco Harris was in the area, so no intentional grounding to Stout as Julius Adams applied the pressure. It's 7-all in Pittsburgh. Let's go to New York, NFL 83.
All right, thank you, Dick Enberg. In Buffalo, more hard luck for Houston. Joe Cribbs goes up. It's ruled over, then the fumble, so the touchdown counts. 7-3 Buffalo over the winless Oilers. Back to Pittsburgh.
Thank you, Len. Where Pittsburgh is trying to break a 7-7 tie. 3rd down and 11. One of the few true pass situations for Stout in the game.
This is that rush earlier that Stout got knocked down on. May have injured himself slightly. And, of course, Nelson, the man that went out on that wrist play, you saw him grabbing his wrist as he hit the ground. They're wrapping it now on the sideline. He may indeed be back into the game.
Pittsburgh has called time as Stout brought his team out of the huddle. Cliff is 2 for 5 and only 10 yards passing. A critical 3rd down coming up. An incredible statistic here early in the second quarter in Pittsburgh. The game is tied at 7, but the number that just jumps out at you, plays. Steelers have had the ball 32 offensive plays to New England's 3, 32-3. 3rd down, 11 at the 14 of the Patriots. Flag is down as Stout threw the ball long, and we may have a holding call against the Patriots. Gary McBride, the referee. Illegal chuck against New England.
Ron Meyer just shaking his head. He'd like to see his offense on the field. So far, they've had just 3 chances and kicked it away. Of course, we might add, Dick, that the points that they scored were also by the defensive team. Nelson stealing a pass and flipping a lateral as he fell to Wysoon.
Illegal contact ball. Number 42. Defense. Automatic first down.
Well, Dreadful 5-yard penalty for New England. They had the Steelers 3rd and 11, but the 5-yard penalty carries the automatic first down. It's 1st and goal at the 9 for Pittsburgh.
A young rookie defensive corner, and in a situation where all the receivers were well covered. Had the foul not occurred, there was no chance on that pass. I think Stout was just throwing it away.
Look at that, 13-0 in first downs, yet the game is tied at 7. Franco. With a 5 and inside the 5-yard line. And Blackman in on the hit.
Well, they're giving Blackman some problems out there. Blackman had a neck injury that's kept him on the sidelines. And Steve Corson, the guard, is pulling to the outside as if Franco is going wide. Now Blackman is reading Franco and has been able to get back in and make the tackle. But boy, that's a tough choice when you've got to stay there long enough to see where he's going and have that big, huge guard moving out in front of you.
Sweeney way out to the right. Garrity to the left on 2nd and goal. Inside handoff to Harris. Well, that's a play through the years that we've seen so many times. Bradshaw giving to Harris on that trap.
A collision in the backfield between Harris and Stout shaking his fist, angry at himself. Watch him here as he goes back. Does not clear. Franco Harris has the right of way there. Stout's got to get clear of him. Almost a draw play, a little delay inside, but knocking Franco off stride virtually makes it impossible for him to get inside.
Eagles take the early lead against the Cardinals 3-0. 32-yard Franklin field goal. 3rd and goal. 17th play of this drive. Stout looks like he wants to run it himself, but throws it away. That could have carried a penalty, no question what he was doing. So New England, despite that long time consuming drive, forces the Steelers to go for the field goal.
That's good news for the defense and for Ron Meyer. Certainly defensive coach Rust has to be pleased that they denied him the touchdown. They'd love to get in there and block a field goal. Remember now that just a couple of weeks ago, Gary Anderson had 3 blocked against Green Bay. Now he's been very accurate. In fact, 4 for 4 last week down in Houston. Let's see what happens here.
21 yards out of Colquitt's hold. And Pittsburgh is back in front.
Pittsburgh 10, New England 7.
10 minutes, 9 seconds left in the second quarter here at Three Rivers Stadium. New England forces Pittsburgh to go for 3. On a perfect football Sunday in Pittsburgh, the Steelers lead the Patriots 10-7 on a 20-yard field goal by Anderson, who now kicks it off. Ricky Smith deep for New England. At the 1, Smith. He's dangerous. And again returns out to the 34-yard line. Greg Best finally secured the tackle for Pittsburgh. So New England, after 20 minutes of this game, gets the ball for only the 2nd time. We'll be right back. Yards passing, 49 yards running. Ron Meyer told us yesterday, Merlin, one of the keys for his defense was to stop Stout's running. They've not been able to do it in this first half. New England with the ball at the 34, and the Patriots, this must seem like they just parachuted into a foreign land to have the football. They have not been in possession, but for now, the 4th running play. What do they have to do now?
Well, they obviously would like to do what they did last week, which was to run the football. They really stuffed it down the throats of the New York Jets. The other thing they must continue to do is get big plays and turnovers on defense. Now, that really has kept them in the game so far. Let's see what their offense can do.
2nd down and 7. Rogan. 56, Robin Cole gets the sack.
The backs are responsible in a blitzing situation to pick up those linebackers coming. Number 34, Van Egan, trying to stop Robin Cole. Cole, too strong for him, goes by and could have been flagged for hand to the helmet on that particular situation. The official on the other side did not call it, and they sacked Brogan for the first time in this ball game. Number 1 in sacks in the NFL. That's their 18th of the year.
They were tied with Miami with 17 at the start of play today. So 3rd down and 13, and Tony Collins. They tried to cross up the Steelers with a run, but Collins gained only short yardage, about 4. And the Steeler defense is held again. The Patriots still in quest of their first down of the game.
And you hear the kind of enthusiasm that this crowd has for their defensive team. We asked Ron Meyer about his best defensive player. He said it's Rich Camarillo, his punter. Well, he needs to have that good defense out of the young man today. They're certainly not getting much of a chance on offense. Going to put the defense back on the field right here.
Scansey is back at the 15. Comes up to the 24-yard line. Fumbles! But the Steelers recover at the 29-yard line, and that's part of the safety returns of Chuck Noll. He's just looking to keep the ball. A flag is down. 41-yard kick by Camarillo.
Steelers applauding. Perhaps they had an ineligible man out too quickly, in which case they can ask Camarillo to kick over again. I'm not so sure that Chuck Noll is going to want to do that. He's had a couple of punt returners hurt. In fact, Rick Woods, one of his fine young safeties defensively.
Downfield on the kick. Number 52, kicking team. Penalty decline. First down. Timeout.
Johnny Rembert, linebacker, was down prematurely. Steelers said we'll take the ball safely right here at the 29-yard line. 7 minutes, 58 seconds remaining in the first half at Three Rivers, with the Steelers ahead by 3. Harris has moved into the number 2 spot behind Jim Brown, passing O.J. Simpson in career rushing yardage in the first quarter. Now with 8 minutes remaining in the half, Pittsburgh's ball 10-7. Frank Pollard, one of 3 offensive backs or wide receivers from Baylor, with a carry. Merlin?
Down on the line of scrimmage, you get a chance to watch the battle going on between Mike Webster and Leonard Nelson right there on the line of scrimmage. Let's get an idea of the kind of one-on-one that takes place. You see Webster winning the battle, absolutely driving Williams off the ball, and it's that kind of drive by an offensive lineman that really shuts off all the flow for the defense. Makes it very hard for them to play defense.
Second down and 4. Harris takes a solid hit at the 37-yard line. He's shy of the first down by 2. Today's game. Pittsburgh Steelers with 2 long drives, one to a touchdown and one to a field goal. Iron City is ready. And the New England Patriots without a first down, a touchdown on a pass interception. He appeared to drive forward enough for the first down. Needed 2 yards.
Amazing the number of first downs that have been made by inches in this drive. I told you Franco had a nose for where that first down was, and look at this one. He just barely lipped it across there. And indeed, they have the first down.
Merlin, why is it suddenly 4th game of this new season, and we've been talking pass for the last several years, and just like that, the running games are the ones that are drawing the headlines and the victories?
Well, Dick, I think it's more that we have seen such great running. In the averages, they're only rushing 31 times and passing 30 this year, as opposed to 30 runs and 31 passes last year in the entire season.
Stout, a rare throw. Intercepted. Rick Sanford. And Stout's passing has been the best play for New England, and the fans are unhappy.
Cliff Stout also unhappy, but simply made a bad toss there. Very late throwing on the break, threw right into the defense. Rick Sanford gets his 2nd interception of the year. Let you watch it at home. Stout looking to the outside, looks downfield. Look how much time he takes here. Has a lot of time, but simply did not spot the defender. Sanford had read the play perfectly, and he just ducked in front, took it away from him.
Sanford with an 18-yard return. New England without a first down trails by only 3, and they have the football at their own 47-yard line. Stout unhappy about that 2nd interception. 2 and 6 this year, and he's negative career-wise. Touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Tatupu, former University of Southern California, blocked back, and he doesn't like the way he's being roughed up after the tackle. Gains about 5.
Got a quick look at Rick Sanford on the other side. To Tupu, a hammer. Now there's Sanford, fine defensive back. Pleased to be able to get his hands on the football, and it's the Patriot defense that has kept them in the game here today so far. Their offense would love to have. Look at the number of plays run so far. 40 by the Steelers and just 6 by the Patriots. They've got to get their offense in gear here.
Yet they trail only 10-7. Second down, a short 5. The Tupu, dragged down by Brian Hinkle, number 53, second-year linebacker from Oregon. There's Hinkle, to college as a quarterback and was switched to safety with the Ducks. Dallas moves out 10-0 on a Septien 42-yard field goal. And Cincinnati 20-0 at Tampa Bay. Do you think there might be some moans and groans down in the Super Bowl city? Third and 2.5. Open. Derek Ramsey, the former Raider, all the way to the 15-yard line. Ramsey's first catch as a Patriot is a big one.
Ramsey able to catch that football right down the middle, and that's a trademark of an Oakland Raider, an LA Raider kind of offense, and it's no wonder that we see that here. Lou Erber, the offensive coordinator, got much of his training with the Raiders. He brings in Derek Ramsey to do exactly what Ramsey did for them for so many years. And right there you get proof of it. Big play on the vertical game.
31 yards and a first down at the 15. Mark Van Egan, another former Raider, veteran from Colgate, gains about 3. And now from Pittsburgh to NFL 83 in New York.
And Dick, from New York to Tampa, where it's all Cincinnati Bengals. You showed the score. Here's how they did it. Charles Alexander, 2-yard run. The Bengals may actually win one. Let's go back to Pittsburgh.
All right, Len, Pittsburgh leading 10-7, dominating the game, but not the score, and the Patriots are driving toward a possible go-ahead touchdown. Second down and 6. Look at the protection. Touchdown. No. It's an incomplete pass as Stanley Morgan took a wicked hit.
Had Morgan's feet touched the ground, Dick, and then the ball popped loose, it would have been deemed a touchdown. But he had it in the air and was popped. It was popped loose while he's in the air. You can see it at home. Morgan will come across the middle. Watch him. He catches the football, but he's in the air, and that ball is just shaken loose from him. Jack Lambert, number 58, just pile driving him to knock it loose. Watch him here now. Lambert coming from the left side of your screen, hits him right there and pops it loose.
Knocked him to the right side of
Boy, did he ever.
Third down and 6. Great protection for Grogan. Look at this time. And he has what appears to be, well, it's going to be close. Where do they mark it? Inside the 5. That'll be a first down as Grogan takes the page out of Cliff Stout's book. And, of course, Grogan in his youth was the leading quarterback rusher in the NFL 4 consecutive years, but that takes its own penalty.
Well, he paid 3 times knee surgery for that particular stat, Dick. But here, look at the time his offensive line is giving him here. They're doing a great job of controlling the defense, making sure that they've got everybody pinned down. Grogan finally made the choice to run it and did indeed pull down a first down. First and goal inside that 5-yard line.
Ron Meyer goes with 3 tight ends, Dawson, Ramsey, and Williams. Tony Collins earns a hard yard. Mike Merriweather, second-year backer from the University of Pacific, first to make contact. It's second and goal at the 4. Time clicking down to the 2-minute warning in a very fast first half here in Pittsburgh.
This is the previous play, not the last running play. Stanley Morgan, you remember, getting down. He's trying to run around and find an open space for Grogan. You remember Grogan had all kinds of time to throw. And everybody down there, Bob Kors, number 90, protecting him. At that point, he started to run.
And now the whistle and the 2-minute warning, the timeout Prior to the first half, the Patriots had the ball 2nd and goal at the 4. A touchdown would give them the lead in a most unusual first half at Three Rivers Stadium.
As we pointed out in the pregame show, it continues today in Buffalo. The exploits of hapless Houston. Campbell just drops it. We'll have all the details on NFL 83 at halftime.
Ron Meyer's team has taken the ball away twice on interception. One, Nelson, with a lateral to Weissoon for a score. And now the second interception, setting up a possible go-ahead touchdown in Pittsburgh. It's 2nd and goal at the Steelers' 4.
And the great equalizer for that ball control game, defensive turnovers.
Grogan to throw. Touchdown, 88, Derek Ramsey. So the new Patriot tight end gives the Patriots the lead for the first time today.
Steve Grogan, 9 for 11 last week. Able to get that ball in over the top of number 57, Mike Merriweather. Again, the time he has to throw the football critical as his offensive line protects him well. You see Merriweather arriving too late. Ramsey using his height and athletic ability together in the touchdown.
Ramsey, who had a big year with the Raiders 2 years ago when he caught 52, and then last year in the regular season didn't catch a pass because of Todd Christensen's talent taking over the tight end job. He gets his first 2 catches of 1983 today, and the second for a score. John Smith tacks on the extra point, and the New England Patriots. If you showed Ron Meyer the numbers, everything he didn't want to see. Pittsburgh controlling the ball, but there is 2 numbers up there he likes. The score, it reads 14-10 in favor of his club. It started with a Rick Sanford interception at the 47 of the Patriots, and Derek Ramsey, who replaces Don Hasselbeck in that trade between the Raiders and Patriots, pays his first dividend. Now the kickoff by Smith to Odom at the Steelers' 7. Henry Odom stopped cold by 2 Patriots. Johnny Rambert was the first to get there.
Rambert just leveling him. Johnny's got a gold tooth that says R on the front of it. He showed Odom a little side of that as he just leveled him on the spot. Johnny Rambert really getting a hit on the special teams there, and that's exactly what you want to see as a defensive coach. I'm sure that Rod Rust over there, who coordinates that defense, just jumping up and down, as is Dante Scarnecchia, the special teams coach.
From the 20-yard line to Harris for about 8 yards. Well, to Odom's credit, on a hit like that, you usually see the ball popping in the air and flying around for a possible recovery, but he held on to the pumpkin. 2nd down and 1 with 1 minute 34 seconds left in the half. Harris again to the 40-yard line. And with all of Franco's rushing statistics, forget that he has become an outstanding receiver. Starting this season, had 272 catches to go with the 11,000+ yards rushing. Sweeney, the touchdown maker, bumped out of bounds at the 48. Pickup of 8 more and stops the clock with 1:09 left in the half.
See Grogan very pleased on the sideline with what he's been able to do in his limited exposure so far in this half. Told me before the game how important a victory today would be for his team. He said, we're a young team. We can win today. He said, these kids are going to think that they're really tough. He said, and we may well be.
Well, the other thing it does, it makes the fans in New England believe in the Patriots if they can win back-to-back games. Jets and Steelers. Stout. Almost intercepted again. Rick Sanford cutting in front of Benny Cunningham.
Stout literally telegraphing his passes. Watch how long it takes him to finally unload the football when he's tipped where he's going. Right there, a long time at quick action and time for the defenders to step in front. A very dangerous pass. That kind of pass, Terry Bradshaw used his powerful arm to throw. Stout does not have that rifle release of Bradshaw.
Minnesota Vikings with a 17-0 lead against the Detroit Lions in the first half in Minneapolis. Stout to Harris. to the New England 47-yard line. It is interesting that Stout has passed for only 38 yards in this first half, 2 interceptions, and he's rushed for 49 yards. That's not a good statistic. 52 seconds remaining. Stout has 1 timeout left. His team, the Steelers, trailing underdog New England by 4. John Stallworth with a hamstring injury and wearing the ball cap and not the helmet this first half. Greg Garrity has replaced him. The Steelers have the ball at the 46 of New England. 10-all tie. New Orleans has rallied for 10 in a row to tie at Dallas. Stout in trouble. And gets out of bounds with a loss back at the 50-yard line. Wasn't happy at all with that. 46 seconds left in the half, and Pittsburgh with 1 timeout remaining. That will be recorded as a New England sack.
Andre Tippett, number 56, a linebacker who doubles up as a rushman, goes down on the left end of the defensive line, was the man who chased Stout out. I asked him earlier, I said, did you play any down linemen when you were at Iowa? He said, no. He said, I didn't. He said, they just saw me doing a little bit of it in practice and put me to work.
James Moen has scored to make it 20-7. Tampa Bay trailing Cincinnati. 2nd down, 14. Short of the first down at the 39, and the clock is running. Golden and Weissoon back in the game, collaborating on the tackle. Clock now shows 30 seconds. Garrity, his first professional catch to the 21, and the Steelers are in field goal range.
Dick, they are in field goal range, but you remember they had to call a timeout earlier when they were in danger of getting called for taking too much time. That's their 2nd timeout of this drive. They're out of timeouts. That could critically impact their ability to go for the TV here.
And last charge timeout, Pittsburgh.
So you hear Jerry Markbright acknowledging just that the Steelers have 18 seconds, but they can only stop the clock with an incomplete pass or running out of bounds. Well, next Sunday it's NBC's doubleheader, 2 for 1 here on the Peacock. Raiders in Washington. That's a fine match. One of the early games, Seattle and Cleveland, Houston, Pittsburgh, Denver, Chicago, Baltimore, Cincinnati. Check your time and listings for the games you'll see. Miami, New Orleans. Merlin and I will be in New Jersey to see the Chargers and the New York Giants. Offense versus defense in that one.
Well, isn't that the truth?
At the 22-yard line, the Steelers have the ball, trailing New England 14-10 with 18 seconds left in the half.
Let's try and get into the strategy of the 2 coaches here. Obviously, Coach Myers expecting a pass, especially with all the timeouts gone. But one thing you would expect is the kind of pass where the clock can be stopped. Either your options are either to go for the touchdown here, maybe have 2 shots at it, or perhaps go down the sideline, try and get something in, and then have a second shot at the goal line. I would think that maybe Noel would be thinking touchdown on this particular play.
You don't want to risk anything shy of that goal line because a tackle made in the field of play, there's no way they could get off another play. Or at least highly unlikely.
Some confusion. Webster talking to Stout. I wonder if there was confusion on the snap count.
Garrity in motion. He started forward perhaps too soon. Oh, is Stout hammered and throws long. Number 65, Doug Rogers, with a vicious hit on Stout, and we have a flag down at the 9-yard line. And the signal is holding New England.
So the penalty does what the Steelers could not do, stops the clock. They're going to have another shot at it. You saw him going for the end zone. It was as we thought. He did try and get it into the end zone on that play.
Number 26, defense, automatic first down.
Veteran Raymond Claiborne at the corner, guilty of the hold, puts the ball at the 17 with 11 seconds left in the half.
Even though Stout has had some time to throw back there, he has taken some real shots from the defense of the New England Patriots, and you wonder how long his body will hold up to that kind of punishment.
65 Rogers, acquired on waivers from Atlanta, was a number 2 pick from Stanford a year ago. Made that last hit. emergency with 6 seconds left. Chuck Noll not going to take any chances. He brings the field goal unit on.
That's certainly one thing that Stout has not been able to do effectively, is throw the ball deep. He is an effective short passer. He's proved that, although he's had his troubles today. But when he tries to go deep, has a tendency not to zip the ball, has a tendency to throw into the coverage, and the result is interceptions. And that has been his story today. They've done an awful lot of things right, but those 2 interceptions have really made it possible for New England to have the lead here.
34-yard field goal by Anderson is good. With 3 seconds left, Anderson, that's 6 in a row for the young South African who played his college football or kicked his college football at Syracuse. 14-13. Well, the first half that's had a little bit of everything, Merlin. Franco Harris moving past O.J. Simpson, number 2 all-time. Pittsburgh dominating possession of the ball and yet trailing in the game, apparently, at the intermission.
One of the things you want to do in the game of football is take advantage of your opportunities. The Patriots have been able to do that effectively here, capitalizing on both the turnovers, able to get their scores on the board, and that makes a big difference in this ball game. Carrying the one in on an interception, Nelson flipping the ball up to Weissoon, and the second time they got the chance on the turnover, they marched it in for a touchdown.
There are the comparisons. Tony Collins, who had 212 yards rushing, a New England record against the Jets in last week's win. Only 9 today to 79 for Harris. That's Keith Lee, number 22. And he's well covered at the 24-yard line and the end of the first half. So Pittsburgh drove early with a kickoff and scored. A Nelson interception, lateral to Weissoon tied it. A couple of field goals by the Steelers, but a touchdown after a Sanford interception. New England leading 14-13. And Anderson kicks it off to start the second half. Ricky Smith at the 6 for New England. Good coverage by the Steelers. Smith had returned the previous 2 kickoffs to the 34, gets only to the 19 this time. The first half statistics are startling, and that's an understatement as Grogan comes on the field.
Just absolutely shocking when you look at time of possession. 7:39 for the Patriots, 22.21 for the Steelers, and look at total yardage, 228 to 57. But the big stat on that board, turnovers, 2. 7 points directly on one and 7 points after a drive on the second one. And you got to believe that the Patriots are hoping that they are going to be able to start putting some stats of their own together in the second half, Dick.
If you looked at those statistics, 228 to 57, didn't know the score, the time of possession, you'd figure the Steelers would be ahead around 21-3 at the half. Instead, they trail 14-13 to New England, and the Patriots with an injury on that kickoff return, number 51, Brian Ingram. They've had trouble with linebackers all day receiving injuries.
See them checking Brian's knee. We have not heard yet whether Steve Nelson is going to be able to play. Nelson out with a wrist injury in the first half. We saw Weissoon go to the sideline with a neck injury in the first half, although he got back in and played. When it rains, it pours. The New England Patriots have had so many injuries in their front line and their defensive line and now in their linebackers. Perhaps we can have an opportunity to see the injury as you're watching the blockers. There it was at the bottom of your screen, number 51, Ingram. Kind of hard for us to see it from here, although no question he did crack that leg pretty well.
We understand that Steve Nelson, a broken right thumb, and probably will not play in the second half. Pretty tough to grab a man with that kind of injury.
Trainer Tom Healy on there on the left of your screen. He's got more than enough work for himself today as his troops are just being battered. And sometimes that happens to you in a game that is so physical. And a running game normally is a very physical game, Dick. There's Nelson. You see the tape job on his right thumb there. Been an epidemic of thumbs. Lester Williams and Julius Adams both have thumbs. Bob Kreider has a thumb injury. And on the other side of the line, Jack Lambert has his hand all taped up and bandaged up. He's had a dislocated thumb. That's typically a defensive injury. You get caught up in a jersey or caught in one of those blockers and just tear that thumb back.
So the Patriots put it in play at the 19. Stanley Morgan and Stephen Starring are the wide receivers. Tutupu, the only running back behind quarterback Steve Grogan. Tutupu. just kind of did a little peekaboo hide-and-seek job in there behind all those big linemen, then finally sprinted outside for a 12-yard gain.
Watch Tutupu find the open ground. Runs right straight up behind Kreider and Hanna. There's no room. Now watch him. He'll look there. No room there. Goes all the way outside of his right end. Donnie Shell finally over there to make the tackle along with Woodruff. But what a great run by Mosi Tutupu.
Looks like a little kid sneaking into the park. He was kind of hiding behind all the big guys. Tutupu. He got away from Tom Beasley once, and Beasley got him on the second turn.
He said it was so good on that right side last time. I'm going to see if it's there again. Again, trying to get in behind Krana right there, behind Hanna on that side and Holloway, but couldn't find the room as he was wrapped up a bit. Tried to get back to the other side, couldn't do it. Tom Beasley plays the run extremely well for the Steelers. He was the man that got a hold of it.
2nd down and 9. Grogan was only 2 for 4 in the first half. Great time. What a catch by Starring. Oh my, Stephen Starring from McNeese State. You saw him leap in the air. He was a 25-foot, 5-inch long jumper at McNeese, and a college quarterback. Did he go up and take that one away?
Grogan, little play-action pass. This is his strength. Dawson was across short. You saw him. He was wide open, but Grogan wanted the deep shot. He likes those deep patterns, and he threw to a well-covered Stephen Starring. 2 defenders right on top of him. He went up and took it away from him.
Starring, whose first catch as a pro, 73-yard touchdown against Baltimore, took it away from 2 Steeler defenders. Robert Weathers is the new running back, and Weathers storms his way all the way down to the 25-yard line. 10 yards for Weathers on his first carry. He's from Arizona State.
Dick, we were impressed with 7.3 per rush for Tony Collins. Weathers is averaging 8.3 per rush. Now that is an incredible average. Young man showing some good moves, good quickness, good power. Just short of the first down. 2nd and about a half a yard. I wonder if maybe they'll go for the big one. This is a good throwaway down.
Patriots leading 14-13, generating a solid drive to open this second half. They're at the Pittsburgh 25. Weathers gets only a yard, but he needed less than that for the first down. Donnie Shell, the veteran All-Pro the last 5 years, came up from safety to make the tackle.
I think the Steelers anticipating that they would try and run in behind Hanna and Holloway on the left side of that offensive line, crossed up by the Patriots, who went to the right. But still, good pursuit. They were able to shut them down. They did, however, get the first down, 1st and 10.
So the other scores, early games today. Yeah, there was room, but Jack Lambert finally got down around the ankles of Robert Weathers. Weathers, a 9.4 sprinter as a junior in high school. His younger brother Clarence making the club, and Lambert, doesn't matter what your name or number is, if it's got a different color on it, it'll knock you down.
You'll see Lambert at the top of your screen. Derek Ramsey trying to block him there. Lambert stacked him up. Actually, Robin Cole, the man that stacked him up. Lambert slipping in behind to make the tackle.
2nd and 8. Lynn Dawson, and the tight end is to the 11-yard line, and a New England first down. As Grogan, throwing under pressure, hits his huge tight end Dawson.
Grogan showing you the kind of cool that he has been able to establish with his experience. Pressure coming right there from the outside, streaking in on him. He takes a good shot, level to the ground, but not until he'd gotten the pass off and gotten it completed. Steelers able to get some squeeze on him here as they're getting on him pretty good.
Ball is just outside the 10. They'll have to go the full 10 yards to get to the goal line. Flag down, and so is Mark Van Egan after a 1-yard gain. Lambert in on the tackle.
Ball start. Offense.
So this in comparison to the opening of the game when Pittsburgh took the kickoff, marched right down methodically and scored a touchdown. New England unwavering as it has moved the ball with relative ease on this drive.
You saw Grogan there looking to the sideline to get the call.
Brian Ingram to the dressing room.
Bad sign.
Good.
Oh, bad sign. It's certainly something that the Rod Russ, defensive coordinator, Ron Myers, disappointed and hurt. They've already had enough injuries on that defense.
1st and 15. Draw play. Patupu. Look at him run right through a tackle all the way to the 4-yard line. Tatupu, 6 feet tall, looks shorter than that, 227. American Samoan who played his high school football out in Honolulu, and that was a little aloha to one of the defensive backs.
Pete Brock doing a good job on Gabe Rivera there, and knocking the nose man aside, was able to make some room. Tatupu just doing much of the rest of it on his own with brute power. Good job there. Ron Johnson trying to make a shoulder tackle. No luck there. Took about 3 of them to get him down finally.
2nd down and 3. Tony Collins, touchdown. So Collins, who had 212 yards last week, only 9 yards in the first half today, but they're happy and hopping on the New England sidelines.
Chuck Noll showing his frustration, but something very important in what has happened in this ball game. You begin to set the tone in that first series, and the Patriots able to come out of that dressing room pleased that they got off with some lucky breaks in that first half, but capitalized on them, able to dominate the first series here offensively. A very important statistic in this game.
John Smith's try for point is good. So the New England Patriots open the second half with a very impressive 81-yard drive capped on Tony Collins' 4-yard touchdown run. And the visitors from New England lead here in Pittsburgh 21-13. Collins had 3 scores last week, his first today. How many high fives does it take to celebrate? Well, we don't have time. Well, the kickoff by Smith taken by Odom out to the 27-yard line. So the Steelers first down at the 27, trailing New England by 8 points. Cliff Stout, the quarterback. Franco Harris and Walter Abercrombie with him. Abercrombie. And with a second effort out to the 33-yard line. Well, you think New England wasn't happy about taking an 8-point lead. Tony Collins, how many? Look, he's dribbling the ball. He's getting that right hand ready. It's hot. That's 1. That's 2. How many threes on my back? Right there. There's 3. Well, get out of his way, because he went right into the stands and finished it off.
Well, he's excited, and rightfully so. And that whole Patriot bench excited and enthusiastic about their way their team has gotten started. They need to get their defense fired up now. That's the critical thing here. See what they can do on defense.
That 80-yard drive, as Franco Harris is close to a first down out of the 38. The 80-yard drive is significant for New England because that is the longest scoring drive against the Steeler defense in over 10 quarters of football this year, longest of this new season.
Patriots able to drive the ball down the field effectively last week against the Jets. In fact, being able to do it from long range. But certainly this is a tougher defensive team the way things look right now, Dick.
Let's re-add those numbers. That's 14 quarters, the longest drive in over 14 quarters against the Steeler defense. First down, 38. Harris, big hole. Ooh, Franco had even more, but was stumbling. 12 yards for Franco Harris. Another big day for Harris, who appears on his way to another 100-yard-plus day.
The Patriots missing Steve Nelson on the inside. That's Tim Golden there that's getting picked off by number 89, Benny Cunningham. Tippett got knocked out of the play, the young rookie linebacker. Here he is. Now watch number 56, Andre Tippett. He's going to be smacked right there by Wolfley, number 73, driven out of the play. We showed you Golden on the inside being beaten. Made a room for the first down.
First down at the 50 for Pittsburgh. Trailing 21-13 in the third quarter. Abercrombie for about 4 yards. Tackle made by Clayton Wysoon, who has a touchdown on a pass interception lateral. Toby Williams also in on the tackle. Well, the fans, although they have cheered Cliff Stout's rushing. They have not been happy about his passing, and you almost feel like they're looking toward Terry Bradshaw every time Stout cocks that right arm.
Well, they missed his ability to hit that long bomb, and no one has done it better in the past few years, and the past many years, than Terry Bradshaw.
Stout to throw. Plenty of time. Uh-oh. They'll be booing again.
Steelers have been able to win their last 2 ball games using what Stout does best, throwing the ball short. But as you have seen, when he goes long, he's got trouble. And he's got his 2 interceptions today off the long balls, Dick.
Well, in fairness to him also, though, Merlin, he's playing without the services of John Stallworth, who is a man who can make that crossing pattern. He's working with Calvin Sweeney and Greg Garrity. That's a little different than Swan and Stallworth.
That's true, but one thing he suffers from, and it's not a problem with his receivers, he does not have a quick release. He telegraphs the pass, makes it easier for the defenders.
3rd down, a long 6. And again, the closest man to the ball had a white uniform, and Stout is booed off the field. Well, he doesn't like to hear that sound. He's angry with himself and his teammates. Hard to say whether that was his fault or whether the receiver did not run the correct pattern.
Impossible, I think, to tell from up here. Stout very upset about the play, and certainly upset about the way things are going right now for the Steelers.
Craig Colquitt, his first punt of this game. Beautiful kick, but I believe it's going to go into the end zone. So it'll be the touchback for the Patriots at the 20. That doesn't make Colquitt happy. 6 minutes and 14 seconds remaining in the 3rd quarter, and Chuck Noll Steelers, who own the ball but not the score, now trail 21-13.
Another quick peek at that last play. That ball drilled right into the ground. It appeared that Stout must have thought the receiver was cutting inside instead of going outside. That's where he put the football.
New England Patriots leading here in Pittsburgh, and the Steelers with that great home record. This isn't something fans are used to here.
They have no desire to see that record change on the losing side. Steelers have been tough at home. They're going to have to get tough here, Dick.
They lost their opener to the Denver Broncos when they turned it over 7 times to the Denver defense. Franco Harris with 96 yards rushing today, but that's an empty statistic now. Long forgotten is the fact that he passed O.J. Simpson into the number 2 spot. These fans now are upset at this man, Stout, whether it's his problem or not.
Well, he is the man in charge, and if they win, he gets a little more of the credit than he deserves. If they lose, he certainly gets his share and more of the boos.
2nd down and 8. Starring in motion. Screen to Morgan. Stanley Morgan. And Donnie Shell was the last black jersey in the Speedy Morgan's way. And what a job Morgan has done through the years. Coming into this season with over 200 catches, he has averaged over 22 yards a reception, best of any active receiver.
Morgan using his great speed on the outside to just slip and slide around, got around the block by Bob Kreider. Number 75 had come out to help him, but most of it was made possible by his great speed, Dick.
20 yards on the play and a 1st down at the 43-yard line. Robert Weathers gets the call for 2.
What a different feel there is to this second half.
Yeah, you know, you go into halftime and Ron Meyer's speech was written for him by the Steelers.
Well, they're taking advantage right now of the size of that offensive line, averaging 6'4.5", 277 pounds. They love to go in on the left side behind Hanna and Holloway and Pete Brock. They were able to get some good yardage that time. Let's see what they do here.
Pick up the blitz, and they're going long for Starring, and he's got it again. This kid is amazing. That's 2 circus catches by Stephen Starring. A flag is down, and it's holding New England. They'll call it back.
Dwayne Woodruff had absolutely perfect position on Starring, but Grogan able to get the ball in front of him. And when Woodruff went up over the top, I think he actually helped Starring to hold that football. But it's all for naught, as the holding penalty will negate it. You see, I think Ron Myers had jumped right out of his shoes on the sideline. That was a 45-yarder. That's really a shame.
And for Starring,
Holding number 75.
Bob Kreider.
Second down.
For Starring, that's 2 catches, and if he has that kind of talent, Merlin, we may be seeing a budding star, the number 3 draft choice out of McNeese State.
What a great name. He may go on our all-name team, Dick.
Stephen Starring. He'll get his own show with that name. Look at this catch. This is just a great athletic play. Well covered. Took it away from Woodruff, the best pass defender of the Steelers. But it is 2nd and 20. Good protection. Screen to Weathers. He gets short yardage out across the 35-yard line. 64, Edmund Nelson made the tackle. He has a disc jockey show in the offseason. Uses the name Joe Rock.
Joe Rock. Well, he'd like to rock him a little bit on the field. Pittsburgh defense has got to get some of the same kind of play, some of the same kind of breaks for their team that the defense of the Patriots was able to generate the first half. They need some takeaways here. Need to get an interception, force a fumble. They'd love to give their team the ball inside the Patriot territory.
Patriots go with 4 wide receivers. And the handoff to Weathers. And a good job inside by 65 Beasley. And it appeared had Weathers been able to crack that front line, there was some running room ahead as the Steelers' deep defense was well spread.
Patriots have a lot of respect for the nickel package and the nickel defenses that the Steelers are able to put into the game. And they did obviously try to pop through. And you're right, Dick. He did have a chance there, but Tom Beasley read that play beautifully. And that's a tough play to make when you're rushing a passer. Did a good job of reading it and getting underneath Weathers.
Camarillo to punt. Scansey is former college teammate at the 17 of Pittsburgh. Almost blocked. John Rogers was in on the kicker. Scansey at the 19. Gets about 8 yards back to the 27-yard line. 46-yard kick by Camarillo. The tackle by Rambert. So the Steelers trailing New England 21-13. Less than 3 minutes left in the third quarter. Pittsburgh's ball at their 27. Back at Three River Stadium in Pittsburgh. Perfect football day, 70 degrees. Light clouds overhead. Steelers trailing underdog New England 21-13 late in the third quarter. Abercrombie and Harris behind Cliff Stout. Harris setting up that move, dipping inside and then whipping outside. Don Blackman was nearest to him as he ran out of bounds at the 33, maybe the 34-yard line. New England has had the ball 15 times in the second half. Pittsburgh has just run its 7th play, so things have done a turnabout.
Things have really turned around, and of course, big turnaround on that last series. Had they been able to avoid that penalty, the Patriots may well have put another 7-pointer on the board, and that would have made a giant difference in this game, Dick.
45th time in his remarkable career, Franco has rushed for over 100 yards in a game.
He's done it 3 straight weeks. That's amazing.
Yeah, we perfectly candid 2 years ago when we saw the Steelers and many of the playoff and Super Bowl stars were retiring. We thought Franco was to be next. He looked like he'd lost a step. And some feel that maybe the strike really helped him last year. Other scores, Miami, after trailing 6-0, has taken a 14-6 lead. Cincinnati leading 20-0. Now it's 20-10. 36-yard line, 3rd down and 1. Frank Pollard.
He's not going to make it, Dick.
Well, he might have, Merlin. He squirted that last little effort. It's going to be very close. They had him stopped at the 31, but as he went down, he was able to nudge forward. They have a measurement.
Roland James, number 38, one of the troops getting up off the bottom. Interesting, Dick, that the Pittsburgh Steelers have been able to do many things well today. They've run the ball effectively. They've thrown some short passes effectively. They have not been able to throw the ball deep, and that has really been their Achilles heel. And that allows you to play a tougher game defensively. You can play the shorter balls defensively. You can play your people up tighter, and it makes it much more effective in stopping the run and the short game.
And down by more than a touchdown, it forces Stout to do, if the Steelers are going to win, what he is known not to do well. He's going to have to show the fans and the Patriots he can throw long.
The Steelers are not a come-from-behind team.
First down at their 37. Stout looking deeper this time. And he won't get the ball away. Number 56, Andre Tippett, the All-American at Iowa. And he was happy about the Hawkeyes' big win against Ohio State yesterday. Tippett with a sack.
Second sack of the day for the Patriots as they're finally able to get Stout on the ground. But you see there how much time he needs to make the read. And I think that's one of his weaknesses now. He doesn't make that quick read. But you've got to remember, this is only his 5th start. And as a young player in terms of starting experience, Stout has still got a lot of learning to do. His team would like to see him do a lot of that learning quickly. It's a problem for them right now.
Frank Pollard to the 44-yard line, which will bring up 3rd down and 3. Don Blackman with a tackle. Clock continues to run, nearing the 1-minute mark remaining in the 3rd quarter. We understand that Greg Hawthorne has aggravated a leg injury, and that's why he's not been seen lately. So just as the linebacking core of New England is suffering under several injuries, so it is the wide receivers for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're without Stallworth, without Hawthorne, going with Sweeney down to the right, and the far left, the rookie Garrity. 3rd and 3. Wide open is Harris. And Franco is to the 35 of New England.
Offensive coordinator Tom Moore, I'm sure, saying, let's go with what we do best. Let's go with the controlled passing game. They run the backs out of there deep, the receivers deep. Franco just circles. You see him coming into the middle there, all by himself, and Stout puts that ball right on target. He does that extremely well. In fact, I think throws that kind of pattern better than Terry Bradshaw. That's the kind of thing they're going to have to do more of if they're going to get the ball in the end zone.
1 second left in the quarter, and Harris has dropped for a loss. Shooting through was Clayton Wysoon, who celebrated much earlier in this game New England's first touchdown when Wysoon picked a lateral from teammate Nelson after a Nelson interception. So after 3 periods in Pittsburgh, 21-13 New England. We'll be back after these messages from your local station.
Houston goes for it on 4th and goal. Who else? Earl Campbell having a big day. Touchdown. It's tied now. Remember, Houston hasn't won a game in a year. Let's go back to Dick and Merlin.
So Eddie Biles, the Houston coach, hoping to pick off a win in Buffalo. Here in Pittsburgh, we open the 4th quarter. It's 21-13 New England.
And Earl Campbell, one of the people chasing now Franco's 2nd place record, along with Walter Payton. We'll talk about that a little later. I think that's kind of interesting.
58,282 in Three Rivers, the paid attendance. Franco breaking 3 tackles, but gaining only a yard to the New England 38-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 11. Rick Sanford, 25, coming up from free safety to make the hit.
Good play today by the secondaries, the linebackers, and I think surprisingly good play from that injured defensive line of New England. We talked about the problems they've had. They're playing some youngsters. Rogers is in there. He just barely arrived from Atlanta. Marshall Harris cut earlier by the Cleveland Browns. He's in there starting. They've really had their problems, and yet they've played effectively in this game.
On 3rd and 11. Going for Scansey. And Scansey at only 5'11". Bourne just a bit too short for that one. So it's 4th down, and the Steelers, who trail by 8, were hoping to get at least a field goal out of this drive. Do not. 14-6, Miami leading Kansas City in the 4th quarter. New Orleans and Dallas are tied. Surprise, 3rd quarter. 20-10, Cincinnati still leading at Tampa Bay. Philadelphia, baseball score 11-7, leading the Cardinals in the third. Houston has tied Buffalo at 13 in the third. 17-7, Minnesota leads Detroit. Baltimore 7-0 over Chicago in the second. Colquitt trying to aim toward the corner and doesn't make it. Or does he?
Yes, he does. They're going to mark it on the 5-yard line.
Good kick at the 5-yard line. So Colquitt happy about that one as New England pinned deep in its own end at the 5, but they have the ball. 14 minutes left, and they also enjoy an 8-point lead.
In the Orange Bowl, David Woodley back to pass. He's got Dan Johnson wide open. Miami has now extended its lead to 14-6 over Kansas City. Let's go back to Three Rivers Stadium.
All right, Len, and here New England, the underdogs leading Pittsburgh 21-13. Ball at the 5-yard line after a well-directed punt from Craig Colquitt. Steve Grogan facing the Steeler defense and a noisy sellout crowd. Van Egan. He earns nearly 4. Van Egan, who in his career has rushed for over 6,300 yards.
Perennial All-Pro, one of the toughest men in the game of football, Jack Lambert. Lambert, fierce competitor. Right now, he wants to start igniting that defense. Bob Coors, number 90, coming on the field.
Well, he's a happy man. Coors' wife Linda presented him with a son, Robert Houston, just 2 days ago. Going for Morgan. No catch. He was out of bounds. Ron Johnson, the Pittsburgh defender.
Second time in a short while that we've seen defenders right on top of those receivers when they caught the football, and it appeared that it actually helped the receiver with the catch. Ron Johnson timed it perfectly. They both got there together, but Stanley Morgan just kept his concentration on that ball, ended up with the football. Unfortunately, his feet were out of bounds.
Steelers have in their young pass rushers on 3rd and 7. Complete. Clarence Weathers to the 41-yard line. And what a story this kid is. Weathers, he's only 5'9", played 1 year of college ball at Delaware State, has been playing touch football for the last 3 years. His brother is Robert Weathers, the running back for New England. Clarence was working out with the Patriots. They said, hey, this kid's got some talent. They talk about a long shot story. Clarence Weathers is it.
Well, he certainly has one thing. He has marvelous speed, and he had good concentration on the ball. Watch him use his quickness here in the secondary, making a lot of that yardage on his own.
Tell his size, his 82 is wrapped right around his waist. Barely can read it. So New England on 3rd and 7 at its own 8-yard line, and Grogan finds free agent Clarence Weathers for a long first down pass. And things do not look good for the Steelers at this point, with 12:24 left in the game, and New England controlling the second half as Pittsburgh did the first, but New England is also controlling the score.
Controlling the score and driving the football and eating the clock, as you say, Dick, much as Pittsburgh did in the first half of this game.
Eddie Murray field goal cuts Minnesota's lead to 7. Open is Morgan, and he's out of bounds at the Pittsburgh 43 with a first down. Wayne Woodruff, the defender.
Steve Grogan able to deliver that ball right on target, getting good time from his offensive line. 58, Pete Brock in the middle, Ron Wooten, 61. Beasley finally getting to the outside, but look how open Stanley Morgan is coming across the grain, and that's really a function of time. You give a good receiver enough time, he's going to find some open turf. Morgan found it, Grogan got him the football.
And a first down at the Steeler 43. New England leading 21-13, fourth quarter. No place to go for Robert Weathers as Ron Johnson came up from safety to make the tackle, a 6-year veteran from Eastern Michigan. With a yardage gain, 14 yards by Morgan on that last catch, he is now the all-time receiver in yardage in New England history. He passes Jim Colclaw.
Another player that we remember with some great years, Harold Jackson, but he earned most of his yardage in Los Angeles and now earning some yardage out in Seattle.
Under a lot of pressure, intercepted. Mel Blount, 25, 31, and that gets the crowd going. First this year, his 54th career interception.
Dick, you can almost change the uniforms at halftime. It's an opposite repeat of what we saw in the first half.
Well, the Steelers hope they can be amazing. They have the ball, but trail by 8.
Just a bad play under great pressure. Merriweather 57 and Bob Coors 90 are the people who were pressing him, and that's a flat bad pass. Watch how short it was of Morgan. Blount has to come back a full 3 or 4 strides to catch that football.
He returned it 20 yards, did Blount to the 31, Pittsburgh's ball, 11 minutes, 5 seconds left, fourth quarter. New England leads by 8 points. Calvin Sweeney at the 44, and he pays for it. 13-yard gain.
A dangerous pass, that ball up high. Sweeney just getting partial coverage of it, able to hang on. But Dick, it's almost as if these two teams have changed roles here in the second half. It's been domination of certainly a number of plays in the running game by the New England Patriots, but they did exactly what the Pittsburgh Steelers did in the first half. They turned the ball over with a long pass.
Ball at the 44, Stout to throw. It's a good catch at the 46 of New England. Garrity, 10 yards.
Garrity showing you some fine athletic skill. Watch the way he drags those feet. He'll keep those toes right on the ground. Excellent play by the young man as he stayed in bounds. 10 yards are going to mark it right near the first down marker.
Cincinnati adds to its lead with a 24-yard field goal by Jim Breach. Houston, perhaps an upset brewing in Buffalo as the Oilers, Joe Danello kicks a 48-yarder and Houston leads 16-13 in the third.
Bud Adams, Coach Biles have really shaken things up down there. Maybe it'll have an impact. First down for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They've got it inside Patriot territory, and Patriot defense has got to get themselves back into gear here, Dick.
Chuck Noll, former defensive player with the Cleveland Browns. He was a 21st round draft pick of the Browns back in 1953. 31 years in pro football for Noll. But the Patriots lead where it counts, 21-13. Stout going deep. Calvin Sweeney at the 16-yard line. That was Stout's best deep throw.
Now that's the kind of play that Stout has had trouble making. We criticized his bad passes. Let's celebrate a great pass. He puts it right between the two defenders and right on the target into the hands of Calvin Sweeney. That's the kind of play that Chuck Noll and Tom Moore and the rest of these Steelers would love to see more of. They've got it down on the 16.5-yard line.
10 minutes, 19 seconds left. Good coverage by Sanford. He made sure that his hit was after the ball had passed. Good coverage in the end zone as well by the deep defense of the Patriots.
Chuck Noll, really a family affair with these Steelers. 3 of his former players now coaching for him. Dick Hope, offensive line coach. John Cope, defensive offensive backfield coach, John Cove.
I understand it's a corrected score. Buffalo has taken a 16-13 lead against Houston. Canelo, of course, now with the Bills. But Houston still in position for a possible upset. Second down for the Steelers. And Stout, that will register as a sack back at the 18-yard line. As pressure from the Patriots, creating third New England sack of this afternoon.
The third member of that coaching staff, Dick, to finish the point, that played for Chuck Noll, Tony Dungy, defensive backfield coach.
Ron Meyer had a chance to meet and chat with him yesterday. Former walk-on defensive back at Purdue, played for Jack Mullenkoff. And he related the 2 years as a scout and coordinator personnel down in Dallas. His experience in that Dallas organization as being a very meaningful to him as he then went on, coach UNLV, SMU. Now in his second year with New England, he's called this the biggest game in his 2 years of coaching with the Patriots. So far, you can put a star by it. His club leads by 8. Ron Meyer has had to go out and acquire some players, but he certainly has cleaned house. 31 new faces for him in 2 years. Stout on 3rd and 11. Paul Scansey drilled by Clayton Weissoon, far short of a first down, and in comes Anderson to try the field goal.
Weissoon has had some big plays today. He absolutely puts a crack on Scansey here. Scansey does a good job of catching the football and hanging on to it. But watch Weissoon, 53. Trying to knock that football loose. Let's see if the Steelers, they need a field goal anyway. Let's see if they can get it here.
27-yard attempt by Gary Anderson. Anderson has now hit 7 in a row this season. And with 9 minutes and 25 seconds left, Pittsburgh cuts New England's lead to 5, 21-16. Gary Anderson to kick it off. The Steelers trail 21-16. He hooks it out of bounds, so the 5-yard penalty. Go back to just one of the lighter moments in a tense time in this game. Paul Scansey, when he made that catch down at the 10-yard line, that was his first NFL reception. You saw the penalty with it. He really got cracked by Weissoon. Then they put up on the scoreboard, that was the first NFL reception by Paul Scansey, S-K-A-N-S-K-I. And he said, I can't even get my name spelled right, and I caught a pass for 5 yards and got my head knocked off. Well, that's part of the dues.
Certainly is.
Rookie dues.
Certainly important points for Pittsburgh as they're now within a touchdown. The Patriots, pleased about that bad kick, hope to be able to get good field position here. And 2 runbacks, 2 big ones last week by Roaches. One a 93-yarder for a touchdown, another 54 yards. And the special team coach for the Steelers has not been doing a very good job.
That's head coach Chuck Noll. Ricky Smith, he's dangerous. He's got speed and he's got some room. 20 to the 35-yard line goes Ricky Smith. And he is one of the better kick returners in the National Football League. Finally, Wayne Capers, rookie wide receiver, got a piece of him and knocked him down.
And Wayne Capers is glad that he has exceptional speed, and this happens quite frequently on kickoff returns. Ball is bobbled here. Capers has responsibility for containment on the left-hand side of your screen. Now watch this as Capers is outrun here. He's the corner man. He cannot let anybody outside of him. And I'll tell you, there was a little fear in his heart. He reached him from behind.
Smith might have been gone. First down at the 35. Tony Collins. It's been a quiet afternoon for Collins, who was sensational in the big win against the Jets at Foxborough last Sunday. Collins, he can almost count his yardage on his 2 hands. Lauren Taves made the tackle. Collins now in this game has a total of 12 yards rushing. Patriots a different club in the second half, leading 21-16. 2nd and 7. Sacked by Robin Cole. 2 sacks for the Steelers, both by Cole.
Steve Grogan told me earlier he was concerned about the blitzing of the Pittsburgh Steelers. He said, I've got to read it and take advantage of it. Does not read it here. It looked like Van Egan on the left-hand side did not spot Robin Cole. Perhaps Cole delayed, but he was able to get in there again and get the sack on Grogan.
Proud, through the years, this last decade, how they have cheered the defense in their Super Bowl years, and they're asking this young defense to get the ball back with 7:57 left. Too much time.
Grogan waiting, trying to get some time for him to be able to hear.
Number 14, offense, third down.
He's going to have trouble.
He's going to have trouble
communicating. You really have to have a strong voice to be heard over this din. On third down and 18. Underneath and drops. Clarence Weathers. And the Steelers will get it back.
The one thing that Ron Myers, Steve Grogan, the New England Patriots did not want to do today is to get into long yardage passing situations. That's probably the toughest, the best thing that the Steelers do defensively is play the long yardage against the pass. And that's exactly what you saw there. They put a lot of pressure on Grogan, and Weathers unable to hang on to the football. They're going to have to kick it away. Let's see now, the nature of this game changing again. It's changed a lot of times today, Dick.
Scansey back at the 26. Camarillo with another good day punting. And he hits a beauty all the way back to the 14-yard line. 25, 35, goes Scansey. 59-yard punt, 21-yard return. And it's the Steelers down by 5 with the ball when we return. Pittsburgh at its 35-yard line. Ron Meyer, he'd like to hook a big one in Pittsburgh today. His team leads by 5. Abercrombie stopped cold as he crosses the 35-yard line. Andre Tippett and Roland James made the tackle. When Meyer says that this is such an important game, add to that, why is it that he has keyed, even announced that he really needs to win today?
Dick, there's no question in my mind that a young team like this, coming off that big win last week against the Jets, can really have an opportunity to change their whole season. Had they lost that game, and talking to the players, they felt that that might have just put an end to their season right there. Now, you wouldn't think that one game could be that important, and yet they felt that it was. Winning that game, coming in here, playing well here, and perhaps winning this game. Now, if they can win here, they change the whole complexion of their season, and they begin to believe in themselves. That's his biggest job in New England, Ron Meyer's biggest job, getting this team to believe in themselves.
And everything else falls in place because then the fans start to believe and you get a positive support rather than what's wrong, what will we do wrong this week. Chuck Noll has turned that attitude around in Pittsburgh, that's for certain. You saw Marshall Harris go off. Lester Williams replaces him. Stout, complete. Greg Garrity at the 50-yard line. First down. 13 more yards as Stout warming up that pitching arm.
Garrity doing a good job of coming back toward the football. Be on the right-hand side of your picture here. Number 86, Stout back. That's the short control passing game. Good job of delivering the ball. Garrity did a good job of getting open on that play.
6.5 minutes remain. New England 21, Pittsburgh 16. Harris. All the way to the 25-yard line.
Stout is hit from the backside as he delivers this pass, and although it's a great play, he limped all the way down to where Franco Harris had delivered this football. Great run after the pass by number 32, Franco Harris.
Harris Harris with 100 yards rushing and 72 more pass receiving. And here he comes on the run. But Clayton Wysoon, well, you can see why the Patriots were talking with such dramatic terms about Wysoon in his play last year. He has been the outstanding defensive player on the field for him today.
You got to remember that Steve Nelson, who is their defensive leader, has missed most of this game because of a wrist injury. Wysoon has had to take greater responsibilities inside. You can watch him here for yourselves. He's blitzing hard there, driving inside, and just taking Franco's legs right out from underneath him.
A loss of 2 at 2nd and 12.
Watch how dangerously close he gets to the line of scrimmage before he delivers that pass. And that one he did put between 2 defenders. Another big play for Walter Abercrombie.
Well, Anderson has just kicked through the extra point, and it's 23-21 Pittsburgh. A 26-yard pass from Stout to Abercrombie, capping that drive as the Steelers regain the lead. 4:58 left. It's Abercrombie, 26 yards to cap that 65-yard drive in just 5 plays. And it's 23-21 Pittsburgh with 4:58 left. Ricky Smith out to the 22-yard line where Odom makes the tackle. Some of you may have wondered whether Abercrombie had both feet in when he caught that pass at the back end of the end zone. Let's go back and take a look.
Get a chance to see Stout. He feels the pressure, stepped up inside, line of scrimmage at the 26th. He looked like he was very close to that when he delivered the football. Now watch the feet here of Abercrombie. 1 foot. Well,
but he had both feet down when he caught the ball. Both feet were firmly planted when he caught the ball. 21-yard line. The Patriots need a field goal to take the lead. And this Steeler defense is really hot now. Lambert gets Tutupu after a short game.
Let's take it again. Rule says both feet must touch the ground in the end zone. Let's see if they're both on the ground at the time. He had one down before, a second down as he caught the ball. He had 2 feet down.
No question. It was a good call. Ball at the 24, second down, 7. This is Starring. 50, 45. He's going to go all the way for a touchdown. "76 yards. The Stephen Starring Show."
From bedlam to silence. Grogan and the Patriots absolutely quiet this stadium in a matter of seconds. A short play, and what looked to be a tackle suddenly turned into a scoring run by Stephen Starring. I believe that was Dwayne Woodruff that had him nailed on the sideline. Looked like he had him. Grogan gets a good pass off under pressure. This is a great play under pressure right there. Delivers it just as he's hit. Now watch the play by Dwayne Woodruff right there. Woodruff gets a shot on him, did not wrap around him. You've got to use those hands to tackle. And Starring, once he broke loose, just used his blazing speed to get down and get away.
The kick is good by John Smith, and New England, in just 50 seconds, takes the lead right back, 28-23. And Stephen Starring, he's not only has a pretty name, this man can play.
There were a couple of defenders who did have shots from the backside. You'll see them as Starring breaks to his left, gets away, as we said, from Woodruff right there. But once he left and started off to the left, he's got plenty of speed. He pulls away from number 31 right there, Donnie Shell. And Shell said, hey, no way I can match strides with that young man. And indeed there wasn't.
So the number 3 draft pick, he was a college quarterback, set the all-time McNeese offense record, nearly 5,000 yards. 4.3 speed in the 40, a 25.5 long jumper, an outstanding athlete, 5'10", only 172 pounds. Third-round pick by Ron Meyer, and he's paid another dividend. As we said, his very first catch as a pro went 73 yards for a touchdown. That one was good for 76 yards.
John Smith, counting his players there in the kicking huddle, says we're one short. Send me another body out here. You should have 11 out there. Patriots only with 10. Finally, here comes Starring. I don't blame him. I guess he was so excited. No, it's not Starring. No,
that's Fred
Marion. I saw the 1 and what appeared to be the 8, but indeed it wasn't there as Starring. He's already out there.
He's the outside man.
Young rookies, even who catch touchdown passes, they've got to pay their dues on their special teams.
3:59 left. Maybe the only mistake Starring made was scoring too soon, because the Steelers have 4 full minutes to try to march down themselves. But now a field goal won't do it. They've got to play touchdown. Grogan now 9 for 15. 222 yards on 9 completions for Grogan. Odom. He takes the advice of Tim Harris and stays in the end zone for the touchback. Now Mr. Stephen Starring, thank you. 2 catches, 108 yards. Not a bad average, 54 yards a catch.
Well, the New England Patriots have led the league in the past 2 years on average yardage per catch. And they certainly haven't hurt their stats at all today.
Al Grogan has always enjoyed going long, and Morgan being one of those targets. And now he's got another in Starring, apparently. Now it's up to Stout. 28-23 New England. Intercepted at the 44-yard line. He overthrew the pass. And let's see, because Rick Sanford has it again. His second of the day.
Second or third?
Second for Sanford, third for the Patriots.
Third for New England, and it's Sanford who's still on the ground after the play. And Stout, you can feel the depression that young man has. Overthrew the pass to Benny Cunningham, got it high. Sanford did a beautiful job of diving for the catch. Some concern there among the trainers and doctors. Sanford is still on the ground.
Here it is again, and you'll see Sanford making the dive just like an outfielder going for the shoestring catch.
We get an idea of what happened on that play. Sanford catching it, rolling over. He's going to be nailed right there. Maybe as he rolled over, he hurt himself.
I think he was downed and maybe in an awkward position. Let's see it again, whether or not the Steeler player in downing Sanford.
Let me watch it all the way through, Dick. Abercrombie coming right there, and it hit on the shoulder. It was the whiplash at the end of that, I think, that hurt Sanford. He is up and moving, and that's good news.
Number 1 pick out of South Carolina 4 years ago.
Another shot as he rolls over. Now it's legal for him to get up and run the football, and it looked like the shoulders met right there. Abercrombie left shoulder and the right shoulder of Sanford.
Now the story for Pittsburgh, with New England in the lead 28-23. They can ill afford to allow the Patriots to pick up a couple of first downs to get a field goal, because an 8-point lead would be all but insurmountable. They have to try to hold New England now, but you could feel this crowd really emptied emotionally. In fact, some have also emptied their seats. They're going home. There's a lot of empty seats showing. Tony Collins. Much there. John Goodman from Oklahoma making the initial hit. Final score, Miami makes it 3-1, and it was a big weekend for the Miami football fans. Their university shutting out Notre Dame last night, and the Dolphins winning as expected against Kansas City this afternoon. 14-6 a final.
Very predictable on the part of the Patriots. They put their best back in behind the best part of their offensive line, running in behind Hoghanner, Brock, Holloway.
Morgan in motion. Collins gets a couple more, and that's all. But the clock is running, and now under 3 minutes left in this one.
Dick, we said earlier that the Steelers are not a come-from-behind team. They don't have that long ball threat, although they have been able to throw a couple of long passes today. They have not been able to do that consistently. It's a weakness. They have gotten most of their touchdowns by grinding it out. They will not have time to do that if they can get the football back here.
Crucial 3rd down and 6 outside the 40. Robert Weathers is the solo back. Grogan incomplete to Weathers. He was well covered. Jack Lambert was right there. That stops the clock with 2:22 left. The Patriots are out of field goal range. So Camarillo probably try to come in and kick it down around the 10.
Well, Grogan looking to the sideline. Indeed, they are going to send the punting unit on. He was angry at himself. We've had tremendous emotion from both quarterbacks, frustrated at some of the passes that they've thrown. Grogan knew that he had a man open and knew he should have gotten him the ball. Very angry at himself on that play, but has had a great day. And Ron Myers, the rest of that coaching staff, as well as the New England players, no matter what happens in this game, this has been an outstanding game for them. And if they win, a real turning point in their season, as was their game last week.
Camarillo. That'll go in the end zone. So Camarillo a little unhappy that he wasn't able to drop it inside the 20. First down, Pittsburgh, 80 yards away from a go-ahead touchdown with 2 minutes, 13 seconds left. The Steelers have all their timeouts left. Let's run down all the scores here, the early part of this NFL Sunday. 13 all the score. New Orleans at Dallas, 3rd quarter. 23-17, Cincinnati's lead now whittled to 6 as the Buccaneers making a comeback, 4th quarter. St. Louis trailing at Philadelphia 11-7, 3rd quarter. And at 23-13, Buffalo leading Houston, 4th quarter. We'll have the rest after this play. Stout to throw. Complete. Abercrombie knocked out of bounds after a 5-yard gain. The rest of the scores. Detroit has tied Minnesota after the Vikings had a sizable lead at 17 all 3rd quarter at Minnesota. 13-3 Baltimore trying to win at home against the Chicago Bears, 2nd quarter. So that's it. We're at 28-23. Patriots leading the Steelers here in Pittsburgh. 2:08 as you see left in the game. 2nd and 5 at the 25. Franco. He gets 11 more to the 36-yard line. Harris has been busy again today. And there's the whistle and the 2-minute timeout here in Pittsburgh. Time now for another of those fantastic finishes. (28-23) New England. Underdogs leading here in Pittsburgh with 2 minutes left. The Steelers have the ball and first down just outside their 35-yard line. New Orleans, once down 13. Well, they were down 10-0. Have rallied to take the lead. 2013, Wayne Wilson, a 1-yard run to open the 4th quarter. Here it's the Steelers trying to rally from a 5-point deficit. 2 minutes left. Number 55, Don Blackman, with the 4th sack for the Patriots defense and a 5-yard deficit and the clock running.
Hard call defensively. They know that Stout has had trouble throwing deep. They came with the blitz and challenged him. He couldn't get it away.
2nd and 15 for Stout. More time. And hits Cunningham down at the 45. That'll be about a half-yard shy of a first down. On 3rd down, and the Steelers exercise 1 timeout. They have 2 remaining, and the clock is stopped at 1:40.
Still plenty of time for Stout as he makes his way to the sideline. Tom Moore, who's upstairs calling the plays, will be helping to shape this call along with Chuck Knoll. Ron Meyer on the other side has got to be terribly pleased with the way his team has played, and they want to Well, it's interesting. The pressure right now squarely on the shoulders of the defense. Be interesting to see if they can hold up.
Well, Cincinnati has its first win, 23-17 at Tampa Bay. Jack Thompson, Kevin House, too late for Tampa Bay. So the Bengals are 1-3. We have two unbeaten teams after only 3 weeks. Shows you the parity in the league. Dallas, the only undefeated NFC team, and the Raiders, the only unbeaten AFC. 4 teams looking for their first win starting today. Cincinnati, Tampa Bay, 2 of those. Cincinnati has its win. Houston looking for its first win here in the AFC, and they were trailing Buffalo at last note. St. Louis, the other club, winless.
Third and just fraction to go. Do they go for the big one here, or do they get the first down?
I think they got to get the first down.
I think they got to get the first down too, Dick.
There's the man to give it to, Franco. But he couldn't get out of bounds. He's to the 48 and a first down. The Steelers will come to the line of scrimmage without a huddle. 1:28, 1:27 left.
Back quickly. Stout had already called the play.
Trailing by 5 points. The Steelers going long for Sweeney. Raymond Claiborne saved the touchdown. Oh, my, was that close.
Claiborne spent all of last week on Wesley Walker one-on-one of the Jets. And here he is plenty deep to get in between the receiver and the ball and knock it away.
So it's 2nd down and 10. Dick Enberg, Merlin Olsen at Three River Stadium, 58,000 plus. Franco Harris earlier today passing O.J. Simpson, number 2 all time. But New England's Patriots are leading the Steelers 28-23 at 2nd and 10. Pittsburgh's ball, 49 of New England. 1 minute 11 seconds left, and that's Paul Scansey with a first down for Pittsburgh at the New England 38-yard line. Obviously, a field goal won't do it. The Steelers are trying to generate a drive to a winning touchdown.
Chuck Noll operating today without Greg Hawthorne and John Stallworth, 2 of his best receivers who have leg injuries. Has the young receivers in the game, young quarterback in the game. Steelers had trouble early throwing the ball deep, getting interceptions. They have thrown it better in this second half, but the pressure is all on right now. They need to get it into the end zone.
And it's a young rookie receiver, Stephen Starring, a 76-yard touchdown catch. That's the difference in the game at the moment. Frank Pollard. Oh, he stayed in bounds. Pollard stayed in bounds. So the clock continues to run, and now Stout has to use a timeout. Well, under the pressure of the moment, Pollard did not duck outside and is inbounds with 4th down and 4.
You can read the lips from here as Chuck Noll says, get out of bounds. It was obvious that Pollard had the chance, but let's give him the benefit of the doubt. He caught that ball, and as he did, he had to corkscrew, tried to keep his balance, and then had the choice of staying in or going out. Stayed in. You'll have a chance to see it for yourselves. Now, watch the pass. He catches this football. He literally does a tap dance down the sideline. And, of course, the smart thing to do is to get out of bounds. However, he thought he could make some more yardage. I think maybe he thought he was out of bounds there anyway. They trapped him. They put him down inside. Forced to call a timeout by the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Well, Merlin, he couldn't win either way. If he steps out of bounds, it's about 4th and 8. He figured, well, I got to make the first down, too. And now the pressure on the Steelers, it's check that. They had the wrong card. They had 4th down up on the yard crew, and they finally switched that to 1st and now 2nd down. All right, it's 2nd down and 5, and indeed Pollard's choice was not a wise one.
Now those timeouts very critical at this point in the game, especially for a young quarterback. And there they are. Steelers now with just 1 time left.
55 seconds to go. Play is dead. No fumble. But number 65, Doug Rogers, makes his 2nd sack. He was just acquired on waivers from Atlanta, and Rodgers has come through with 2 big defensive plays. And the Steelers Have they called time? No. The Patriots have called time for the entry to Don Blackman.
No question. Stout should have gotten rid of this football.
And no fumble as he is smothered by the defense of the Patriots. I don't think Cliff knew just how many white shirts were bearing down on him.
Well, obviously, they'd made their choice. They knew that they couldn't give him any time, and the rush, especially the blitz, has been most effective for the New England Patriots today. In this late going, they've been able to get their linebackers in on top of Stout. They've been able to get to him before he's been able to get the football away. They've forced him into a dangerously long passing situation here, something that the Steelers have just not done effectively all day.
Well, someone's done a great job on that far sideline, Merlin. As you pointed out, it's been a crippled defensive unit and one that has not played all that well for New England. And here they've sacked Stout 5 times today. He'd been sacked only 7 times in the first 3 games.
Well, Rod Rust, defensive coordinator, deserves to take many a bow, and they've done it without their leader defensively, Steve Nelson, who has been sidelined much of the game. Ron Blackman is on the sideline. You see him, number 55. He's been out of the lineup with a neck injury. He's had a big day today, as has Clayton Weissoon.
3rd down and 20. From the 47 of New England. Intercepted by Claiborne. He had Garrity well blanketed on that far sideline. This telecast presented by authority of the National Football League, intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Pittsburgh Steelers and the National Football League is prohibited. Ted Nathanson, Larry Cirillo, director, producer. All the pictures are men and women here at NBC Sports in Pittsburgh. It's been really an exciting game and a most surprising one. A big underdog, New England leading by 5, and this is the play for Pittsburgh.
Certainly has been an outstanding game for those Patriots, and they have played well on both sides of the line of scrimmage. They've surprised a lot of people, I think, including us, Dick.
4th down and 20. And that's going to do it. Look at that sidelines for New England. Look, and they're all coming out onto the field. The great Rodgers, Doug Rodgers, 3rd sack of this game. And Ron Meyer's club has pulled it off, apparently, with 36 seconds left.
An interesting format for victory, turning the big turnovers in the first half into points and making the big plays offensively in the second half. You see on the countenance of young Cliff Stout the feeling that he has about his day. It's been his interceptions that have been the costly blows to the Steelers.